Long ago, in the beautiful kingdom of Hyrule, surrounded by mountains and forests, legends told of an omnipotent and omniscient golden power that resided in a hidden land. Many people aggressively sought to enter the hidden golden land, but no one ever returned. One day, evil power began to flow from the golden land. So the king commanded 7 wise men to seal the gate to the land of the golden power. That seal should have remained for all time. But when these events were obscured by the mists of time and became legend, in a 16-bit map with beautiful pink colors and a dead king, a mysterious wizard known as Agahnim came to Hyrule to release the seal. He eliminated the good king of Hyrule.
Hey, you can't just poke her in the butt like that, man. That's pretty rude.
Through evil magic, he began to make descendants of the 7 wise men vanish, one after another. And the time of destiny for Princess Zelda is drawing near.
Released in 1992 in North America for the Super Nintendo, this is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Howdy folks, my name is retyopko and welcome to part number 1 of my Let's Play. I have a history that I can share with this game, but before that, I'm going to go ahead and get into things, go ahead and name my file. I'm going to be honest here and name my file with my real name, as much as I would love to name myself Link and be real thematic. I think it would be more fun have my real name in here, so hi, my name is Dawson. I know that's usually a last name, but hey, my parents were kind of weird with what they decided to name me and my sisters, so here we are. And I'm going to go ahead and start with my real name. How about? Should be a fun time. It'll pop up a couple of times as characters will refer to me.
Help me. Please help me. I am a prisoner in the dungeon of the castle. My name is Zelda. The wizard Agahnim has done something to the other missing girls. Now only I remain. Agahnim has seized control of the castle and is now trying to open the 7 wise men's seal. I am in the dungeon of the castle. Please help me.
Dawson, I'm going out for a while. I'll be back by morning. Don't leave the house.
Hey, whatever you say, boss. But I think I'm gonna hop out of bed and completely ignore your orders because we've got more interesting things to do. And yeah, welcome to gameplay. It's very exciting. I'm back hitting it again with my DualShock 4 on the emulator because hooking up a Super Nintendo to a capture card sounds like a process that I'm not even sure that I would be able to know how to do, considering that I think you need coax connections on the Super Nintendo. So, I have a history with this game, and with the Super Nintendo, indeed. This is the very first video game that I ever played as a child, and what kind of started me on the path that I'm on today, which is what I do with the majority of my time, is play too many dang video games. As a matter of fact, let's not go up here. This is the very first game that I had ever played, and my experience playing with it is very distinct and memorable. The guards stopping you in this rainy night with the thunder and everything. My experience playing was in the back of my dad's 95 Suburban, if I had to guess, and he hooked up a little CRT, like a 12-inch CRT, to a AC converter, I think it is, and a Super Nintendo. Oh, looks like Zelda is getting into contact with you again.
Help me, I am in the dungeon of the castle. I know there is a hidden path from outside of the castle to the garden inside.
Excellent. Looks like that is something that will help us in our journey. So, he had it hooked up in the very back of his Suburban, and we played the Super Nintendo on road trips, and this is the very first game that I ever played. I think I might have been 2 or 3 years old at that point, and playing it in the back of his Suburban that had third row seating, I should mention, one of them real comfy long SUVs. So I have a lot of memories regarding this game that I will be able to share during our experience together during the Let's Play. It should be a pretty entertaining time for the both of us, I should think.
Oh, Dawson, I didn't want you involved in this. I told you not to leave the house. Take my sword and shield and listen. You can focus power in the blade, hold the B button, then release it using the secret technique handed down by our people. Dawson, you can do it. Save the princess. Zelda is your...
Destiny? Fate? Booty call? We shall never know, for unfortunately, our uncle has passed away. That is who this character is supposed to be, although I'm not 100% sure. He really doesn't look like Link at all. They look completely different, and he is massive. What a large lad he is. Then again, I'm assuming Link is supposed to probably be, a young kid, as usual. He is a lot smaller than all of the other enemy sprites in the entire game in general. Man, I apparently cannot speak English today, which is a wonderful time to be recording the first part of a Let's Play. The one that's going to be introducing the most people to your content, the one that's going to get the most click-throughs, but hey, I had the cool, fun reading at the beginning, and maybe that'll get a few people. People usually click away after the first 2 or 3 minutes, just as a general rule, so hey, maybe that'll draw people in, and they'll totally ignore this part where I'm rambling, as it were. So we finally made it inside the castle through the secret waterway there. I really love this intro to the game. It's so mysterious with the rain and everything. The music makes everything feel tense, and it persists throughout every single area. And then you finally enter the castle, and it plays this imposing march. You really feel like you're somewhere that you're not supposed to be, and the guards, aggroing on you. Although it appears these dagger-wielding ones, or short sword, if you will, don't want to aggro you. They will just kind of ignore you. So that's kind of cool. But the ones that wield the long sword, green and, as you will see in this room, blue alike, aggro as soon as they see you, or as soon as you start swinging on them, as any enemy should, right? You start swinging on them and they just ignore you. It's like, well, what are you doing, bud? You trying to die? Trying to be a resource for the player? And the longsword wielding enemies will also reflect your sword, or it'll bounce off if you swing into it, so it is wise to swing a little bit off-center, which is an interesting thing that, as a kid, I definitely did not get that. I would sit there and I would bounce off of them over and over and over again until I finally got it. But that's the reason why you go back and play the games that you played as a kid, as an adult, so that you can better appreciate them, or, alternatively, perhaps so that you can learn that they were trash. In a lot of cases, a lot of the games that I used to like, I now recognize are not that good, but this is one of the true gems of the Super Nintendo era, and you will find, if you haven't seen any footage of this game before or anything of it, that this is the game that really inspired the Zelda trends that lasted all the way till Breath of the Wild, and oh man, was that 2017 or 18? I've completely lost track of time. I think that was 2017. Oh man, what has time become but a human construct indeed? So, this area with these blue guards is extremely memorable to me. I played through the intro of this game Lord knows how many times because, as a kid you don't really understand the concept of a save file when you're that young. This isn't, Super Mario 64 where I was playing it as a relative teenager or like a preteen. This game I was truly playing, I was a little kid. I was super young and didn't have concept of a whole lot of things yet, but this was actually a really good learning tool for me. I would definitely say that playing video games as a little kid helped me learn how to read. Most of the people in my family will say that I learned to read on my own, which I think is not, and I'm not even sure that that is a realistic possibility for someone. You have to have someone teach you how to read, right? But I was definitely driven to read things on my own, I think is the distinction that needs to be made there. Even when I was really young, I enjoyed reading things, and I learned to read to be able to read as quickly as possible, if that makes sense. I feel is the more true story. And playing games like this, I would have people, hey, read this for me as a little kid, and they would be like, nah, you gotta read it yourself. You gotta figure things out for yourself. And I appreciate this game for that and for teaching me, puzzle constructs that lasted throughout gaming and still exist to this day, We got an item. You got the boomerang. Give it a try by pressing the start button and equipping it in your Y slot. And indeed, I'm going to be doing so because the boomerang is a pretty helpful tool for what is coming up ahead here. But back on the topic I was mentioning before, is that this game is a really early example where Nintendo was trying to instill that explorer's sense into you that they really nailed in Breath of the Wild. And that core concept really is true to Zelda's like roots. I think that people are a little disingenuous when they try and push the narrative that Breath of the Wild is a huge departure away from things, because while it does depart away from the traditional dungeon structure, the exploration factor is one of the core features in every Zelda game from the first one and extending into this one, and those type of exploring interactions lead you in other games to explore and kind of teach you where secrets are. Game developers a lot of the time will think alike, and they will end up putting things in places that, kind of make sense. We're going to completely ignore the princess, and we're going to take the $5 that are sitting right next to her. Later! Actually, no. Okay, we do actually need to do the objective. As much as I would love to take the $5 and leave, I have to do the voice again. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dawson. I had a feeling you were getting close.
Okay, it does feel weird saying my own name in that voice. I've made a mistake.
Listen carefully. The wizard is magically controlling all the soldiers in the castle.
And now I can't take it seriously, because I can't help but think about how uncomfortable that is. Oh, what have I done? What have I done?
I fear the worst for my father. The wizard is an inhuman fiend with strong magical powers. Do you understand?
Why are you asking me if I understand? That was super easy to comprehend. Oh, I apologize for my lack of brevity now, but I've lost it.
Alright, let's get out of here before the wizard notices. I know
a secret path, but first we have to go to the first floor. Let's go. Okay, let's get past the dialogue. Get the giggles out of my system, because that was too funny. That really genuinely made me uncomfortable on the inside and in some kind of way, and I'm gonna move on. I'm going to move on. We're going to move on together. We've rescued the princess, accomplished a major goal. Seems like a good time to end the part. Ha! No, that is a joke. Fake credits. It's always one of the classic gags that people get you with. Like, boom, pow, I'm outie. But in reality, no, this is not going to be the stopping place. There's a much better stopping place just a little bit up ahead that I think is going to manage to keep me under my goal of 25 minutes per video, which I'm assuming is the best for the algorithm, but I'm honestly not 100% sure about that sort of thing, because I know channels like, someone had pointed out to me that Game Grumps, for example, which I don't personally enjoy or watch their content, but if you do, all power to you, In fact, my best friend really enjoys the Game Grumps content, so I don't really judge as far as that goes. Enjoy what you enjoy. On the other hand, their videos are about 50 minutes long in length, which seems extreme to me, but they still maintain the same amount of viewership on them, so there's an interesting thought that I've considered.
There's a secret passage to the throne room that leads to Sanctuary. I'm sure the old man there will help us.
I would certainly hope so, at a place called Sanctuary, that they would help refugees running away from a soldier-infested castle. Most of which, although we are ignoring, I mean, there's no reason to fight guards if we don't actually have to. And with Princess Zelda's help, excuse me, clearing my throat, because it is actually a little hard to do this high pitch.
That ornamental...
Oh, no.
That ornamental shelf should open. Do you have a light? It's pitch dark inside, and you can't see without one. If you're ready, let's go. Help me push it from the left.
Most excellent. And indeed, pushing it from the left. This was an instance as a kid where I tried pushing this thing from the right so many times, not understanding. Because again, I really was just beginning to be able to read, if not unable to do so. So being able to push this from the correct direction was a crapshoot every time I went through this area. So thanks to the help of the lantern that we picked up in our uncle's house, we were able to see in this dark area. I believe if you actually skip that chest that you are not able to see with the little light in front of you, and you will definitely not be able to light the braziers that are in this room, which will allow you a little bit of visibility. And the cool mechanic with the braziers is that the more you light, the higher the level of light will actually go. So you saw I lit that last one and it was really bright for just a second, but then the first one I lit had went out as soon as I lit it. So I appreciate that that is a mechanic that they had thought of. It's really cool to see in this very first area. This first area is kind of like a mini dungeon. It's kind of prepping you for the level design up ahead, although it is extremely linear, but it does require you to do a little bit to be able to get through the area. It doesn't just let you to have a free pass. For example, if I'm remembering correctly, in this room, indeed, there is a treasure chest that is going to contain a small key, which it's funny to think about that this game contained small keys in the very first area, in Hyrule Castle even. In fact, Hyrule Castle had the big key from that mace enemy.
After passing through these sewers, we will be very close to Sanctuary. Let's be careful.
Excellent. They even had small keys in the very first area, Hyrule Castle, in this game. However, in Ocarina of Time, I always said it Ocarina as a kid, so I kind of flip-flop between the two pronunciations, depending on how I'm feeling, honestly. Get a nice red rupee from that rat. It's worthwhile to kill these guys, simply for the possibility that they drop a red rupee. But yeah, in Ocarina of Time, they don't introduce small keys until, I believe, the 4th dungeon, if I'm remembering correctly. So they took a good long while to introduce that mechanic when they require you to deal with it already here. Although in the instances that you have to deal with it here, it's not even very complicated. It's not like you have to remember that there's a separate room. You're not passing by locked doors like we will be in later dungeons and having to remember them for later once we actually get the requisite key for them, which is going to be very fun. I'm really looking forward to the later dungeons in this game. Because of the childhood memories that I have associated with this game, and Zelda ended up really being my favorite series overall, I think. It, for me, stands out the most in my mind. Majora's Mask I would definitely still classify as my #1 favorite game of all time. It just means so much to me in the overall scheme of my life and the games that I play, and it impacted me a lot. I'll just kind of leave it at that. So I really, really love this game, and I'm hoping to be able to share that love with everyone with all of these videos, be able to talk about all the fun times that I had. Because yeah, I actually did manage to make it pretty far in this game, although it did take me until I was, 6 or 7. I was quite a bit older at that point, but even though it did take me a little bit to be able to actually get into the groove for this game, I was able to get pretty far, if I'm remembering correctly. I may even have been able to beat it in... I may have beat this game before I was 6, probably with help from adults, probably not a sole effort on that one, I would imagine, but I definitely do recall seeing the Ganon fight. Then again, that might have been my pops on that one. As a matter of fact, fun story is that after we got the Super Nintendo, so we got it as a gift from my uncle, Oh, this is a fun trick. It's sanctuary.
Sanctuary is just beyond that door. Pull the switch over there.
Cool, thanks. You specified left when we had to push the thing before, but you can't specify left or right on this one. Most unfortunate, Princess Zelda. Oh, and it teaches you how to pull a lever. You just press A and hold down on the control pad. The D-pad, if you will. I think I'm going to actually save the story of this game and the resulting experiences for the very next part, because once we open this door, we are here in Sanctuary, and this seems like a very good ending point for this video before we get into the game proper.
Princess Zelda, you are safe. Is this your doing, Dawson? Yeah.
Yes, it was Dawson who helped me escape from the dungeon. When I was captive, the wizard said, once I have finished with you, the final one, the seal of the wise men will open. Dawson, you...
Excuse me while I spit my name up again, because... Oh, yeesh.
You must not let the land of Hyrule fall into the wizard's clutches. If he releases the seal of the 7 wise men, evil power will overwhelm this land.
That's so hard to do.
Before that happens,
Before it's too late. I actually have a newfound respect. I mean, I already respected the male to female trans people, but holy crap, to maintain that for any considerable length of time? That's a real random tangent at the very end of this video, but for real. Before that happens, before it's too late, destroy the wizard before he destroys all of Hyrule. You can do it. You can.
I sense that a mighty evil force guides the wizard's actions and augments his magical power. The only weapon potent enough to defeat the wizard is the legendary Master Sword. It is said that the village elder is a descendant of one of the 7 wise men. Maybe he can tell you more. I will mark his house on your map, but watch your every move. I am certain that the castle soldiers will be looking for you now. I will hide Princess Zelda here. Do not worry. Seek the Elder. Do you understand?
Thank you, Kaepora Gaebora. I think that I do. And it's unfortunate that I have to end this video. In fact, let's not. I'm going to grab the heart container in the chest. I was going to save this for the start of the next video, but I'd rather not have the end card have the heart beeping during it. That would be rather terrible, I think. So, I hope you guys enjoyed part number 1 of Let's Play. Let's try that again. My name is retyopko, and I hope that you all enjoyed part number 1 of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. I hope that you all will be joining me for part number 2. Hope to be seeing you then.